Hey guys, welcome back to Critical Flick. Today, we're reviewing Plane. So Plane is the newest action film starring Gerard Butler, and in this one we see Gerard Butler playing a pilot of a plane, like in the title, and it runs into a lightning storm and he is forced to crash land on this island that is being controlled by separatists and militia, and really the movie is pretty much what it's billed to be. If you saw the trailer of this movie, you know the plot of it, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Now, while a lot of Gerard Butler's action films through the past have not been the greatest thing in the world, they've been pretty generic, pretty throwaway, I think this one was actually pretty enjoyable and it's pretty self-aware. It doesn't try to be too ridiculous or too insane, and I do think the emotional stakes for him and his character in particular are pretty well fleshed out. He's a sympathetic and likable character. He's not this kind of unstoppable action hero like we've seen in the past. He's someone who feels very human. You feel the connection to him and his passengers and his daughter in particular, and I think his performance is actually pretty decent. Mike Colter is also in this film. I like him a lot from the show Evil, and I think he gives a pretty solid supporting role in this one. It is pretty one note, but he kind of plays the foil to Gerard Butler's character. There's a part in this film where it almost is kind of like, I'm not going to say a buddy cop movie, but their dynamic is kind of Gerard Butler is this more moralist person who cares about saving the people and not wanting to kill people, trying to be kind of a pacifist, even though he has a background in the military, while Mike Colter's character is far more willing to do ruthless things. He's a convict, he's someone on the run, and he's willing to do anything to get the job done. So I like their dynamic back and forth, and I think it works for the scenes that they're together in. And as far as the action goes, it's pretty entertaining, specifically the third act of the film. There's some crazy action involving a sequence with the plane and some malicious fighting, a lot of good gunplay, a lot of action that goes on there. And like I said, it doesn't ever get too ridiculous. It is a little ridiculous. I'm not gonna say it's not ridiculous, but it's not like laugh out of your seat ridiculous like some movies we've seen in the past. The movie does have some brutality to it, particularly with Mike Colter's character. Like I said, he's willing to do anything to get the job done, and there's some scenes involving a sledgehammer and some other things that are pretty intense to see, so the movie does have some graphic nature to it. The big drawback to this movie is that it is a very, very bare bones plot. Not to go into too many spoilers, basically what you saw in the trailer is what you get. The plane crash lands. They're trying to escape these militia people, these separatist fighters. There's not a lot of complexity there. There's not a lot of side stories to really fluff it up. But I think that's a good thing. I think the movie runs just under 2 hours long. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It keeps a good pacing for the most part. Now, obviously, there's a suspension of belief when it comes to these movies, so you could tell the writers kind of knew what they wanted to do and they weren't worried about trying to explain it a whole lot. So it can come off a little stupid at times, particularly what goes on with the plane and how they end up landing and flying and things that go on with that. But I think if you can look past that and just enjoy it as like a fun, consumable action film, it's worth checking out. As far as all the small tertiary characters go, they're pretty throwaway. A lot of them are just kind of stereotypical characters. They don't bring a lot to the story. And I'm glad they didn't dive too much into them because I think it really is a movie that focuses on Gerard Butler's character and Mike Colter's character. And that's really all that matters. I didn't need it to be fleshed out and have this kind of intricate storyline. It is a movie about a plane crash and about fighting bad guys in the jungle and escaping. That's what it's about, and it can be enjoyable. Just take it for what it is. One other slight negative that I had, it might have been the screen that I watched it on. The color grading on this thing is really, really drab. It's just really bland looking. It's really just brown and gray and like a puke green color. I don't know if it was my screen, so I'm not going to hold it against the movie. Maybe people have different experiences, but seeing it being this like lush tropical jungle, I would have liked to see a little more vividness to the film. So if you saw it and it looked better to you, maybe it was just me. Obviously, leave those comments down below because I'm interested. Maybe it was just like a bad screen that I was watching it on. And like I said, the movie really does focus on that main plot line. It doesn't stray off too much. When it tries to dive more into kind of like the interactions with the airline itself and kind of the things going on in the background, I find that not very interesting. I didn't think it was very compelling, and the writing involved in that wasn't very strong. But when we stuck with our main characters and kind of what was happening on the island, it was pretty interesting and pretty compelling. So if I were to rate Plane, I would give it a solid 6.5 out of 10. It's not going to blow you away. It's not an incredible movie by any means. But if you're looking for a fun Gerard Butler action movie, I think it falls quite finely into his catalog. I think it's decent. I think it's fun. And if you like these kind of movies, you're going to enjoy it. And again, if you watch the trailer and you liked the trailer and you were interested in the movie, I think you'll be satisfied. If you watched the trailer and you thought that it was stupid and uninteresting, you're probably going to find the movie stupid and uninteresting. So again, thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe. And if you checked out Plane, let me know what you thought about it in the comments below.